magic that we can.
Hello, it's me and INFP. I'm glad to be back doing some of my videos. I haven't been around for a while, mostly because either I feel like I've kind of gotten out of the vibe of, having something to do videos about, though I have ideas, and I'm also busier now that I'm at college. I'm actually in my dorm room right now. And I've also felt a little weird, I guess a little paranoid about people I know in real life, like finding and watching these videos, even though there's nothing wrong with them. It's just talking about MBTI. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to not share as much like personal information, like just in case, like, I guess I'm sort of a paranoid person sometimes, but I just I like my privacy, so that's also one of the reasons why I haven't been as enthusiastic to put my videos out, because it was discovered by someone I knew in real life, and I just like keeping my thoughts separate sometimes, even though you're all strangers, most of you probably. I don't mind sharing my thoughts to you, but I guess it's a thing in me to hide parts of myself, even if they're not bad things, from people, to, I don't know, to keep from being vulnerable, I guess, which leads me to what I want to talk about today. I would have liked to do more preparation for this, because this is a subject close to my heart, and I love talking about it, but I'm just gonna wing it because I'm just gonna procrastinate otherwise. Today I want to talk about attachment styles. If you haven't heard of that before, you're gonna hear about it now. And I am sick, so I apologize for my froggy voice and if I cough during the video. Alright, let's get started. Attachment styles was a theory originally found by John Bowlby, I believe. It's the idea that the way that caregivers care for their young children affects the way that they attach to people, both their primary caregivers and later on in life. It's usually in the first few years of life how responsive their caregiver is to the infant or child will determine what kind of attachment style the child will have. And this can have ramifications down the road with adult relationships and attachments. So, some people say that there are 3 main attachment styles. There's actually 4. The first one is secure attachment. This is something that supposedly the majority of the population has. Secure attachments had caregivers that were responsive to their needs and gave them a nurturing environment, but weren't too smothering or too distant. So they grew up with healthy self-esteem normally, and they tend to have a positive view of themselves and a positive view of others. I'm going to read descriptions for each of them that I found was good, to see which one you relate to. For the secure attachment, they say, it is relatively easy for me to become emotionally close to others. I'm comfortable depending on others and having others depend on me. I don't worry about being alone or having others not accept me. So I think they're a lot less turbulent. They don't worry as much about what other people think of them, or in romantic relationships, I think they're better at communicating what they feel and talking out conflict and stuff like that. They're comfortable both being close to others and giving others space. And they're not as concerned about the idea of others leaving them, or of them being too clingy They're just more like balanced in their relationships. So yeah, that is the first attachment style. I think that's the attachment style everyone should aspire to be, but of course not everyone has a secure attachment style. And there are 3 insecure attachment styles. One of them is called the anxious preoccupied attachment style. They tend to have a positive view of others but a negative view of themselves. Their caregivers may have been like inconsistent in their caregiving, where they were there one moment and unavailable another, and it created a lot of worry in the child, and like they weren't sure what to expect, and they grew up worrying about others not being as close as they want to be to them, and worried about, you know, people leaving them. And these types of attachment style are typically known as, like, I guess the clingy types, though there's nothing wrong. Okay, there are unhealthy attachment styles, but that doesn't mean there's something wrong with you if you have an unhealthy attachment style. Just like if you were in an unhealthy state of like your Enneagram or your like MBTI type, it just means like you have struggles as a person, and some of that may not have been your fault, but you can always like improve and, you know, work on growing and becoming, you know, up to a healthier level. So for the anxious preoccupied attachment, they say that I want to be completely emotionally intimate with others, but I often find that others are reluctant to get as close as I would like. I am uncomfortable being without close relationships, but I sometimes worry that others don't value me as much as I value them. So yeah, they have a lot of anxiety, hence the name. They tend to be always thinking about their romantic partner when the partner's not there. They worry about the partner finding someone else or leaving them. They may be the type to be like multiple texters, and if their anxiety keeps getting higher, they may go up to higher levels of anxiety behavior. I want to talk more later about like the anxious attachment style paired with the avoidant, dismissive avoidant, because that's a pair that often finds themselves together because they feel each is what the other is used to, and they kind of end up in like sort of a codependent relationship. But yeah, I will get to the avoidance. Okay, there are 2 kinds of avoidant attachment styles. The first one is the dismissive avoidant. The dismissive avoidant tends to have a positive view of themselves and a negative view of others. However, their positive view of themselves is actually can be like a false front. They have like a false high self-esteem that is really hiding insecurity underneath. So they may not really think they're worthy deep down, but it may be subconscious, and they may think that they have high self-esteem or that, you know, they are better people. So dismissive avoidants tend to feel like they don't really need others, that they're independent and that they're better off by themselves, and that others just want to, you know, cling on to them and, you know, like take away from their lives or something like that. The dismissive avoidant attachment says that I'm comfortable without close emotional relationships. It is very important to me to feel independent as self-sufficient, and I prefer not to depend on others or have others depend on me. So yeah, I guess they can be kind of lone wolves, although many of them do get into relationships and get married. Yeah, their attachment style doesn't change. They just, stick to themselves, and they dislike when others sometimes like try to get too close to them emotionally, or depend on them for things, like I said in here, because, it makes them uncomfortable and it makes them feel like smothered in a way. Dismissive avoidants may have been raised by avoidant parents themselves, parents who were unavailable or like not there for them. So they learn to like take care of themselves and, become independent from a young age, and they may have even had to like raise themselves, or their parents may have been unable to take care of things, and they may even have had to like take care of a parent. And with the anxious attachment style, their parents, I think bipolar parents, so their children may end up with anxious attachment styles because of the parents' inconsistent behavior. Now, we come to the second avoidant subtype, which is the fearful avoidant. The fearful avoidant attachment typically has a negative view of themselves and of others. Their caregivers typically may have been abusive in some way. However, that is not always true, because I myself am the fearful avoidant attachment style, and I had what you would call like a perfect childhood. I had parents who wanted the best for me and tried to give me like a great childhood, and I never was abused in any way. So I think fearful avoidant attachment style may also come out of like not feeling seen or understood. It may also come from experiencing a lot of loss, like a lot of deaths, or like people leaving your life and stuff like that, and like causing you to like not feel like you can depend on anything. I think that is just my theory, though there may be some stuff about it online. But yeah, I think that's also a possibility. So like if fearful avoidants feel like everyone like can't be trusted to stick around, or that everyone like could leave them, they're afraid to like get close to others. So yeah, fearful avoidants, they want to get close to others, unlike the dismissive avoidants. And fearful avoidants like want like an emotional connection and a relationship with someone, friendships, but they're also afraid of it at the same time. They're afraid of getting hurt, of being rejected. So they have like a lot of turmoil inside, like emotional storms. They have like tug and pull. They want to be close, they're afraid to get close, so they might get close and then pull away because it makes them uncomfortable to be close, but they want it at the same time. So yeah, that's tough. The fearful avoidant attachment says, I am somewhat uncomfortable getting close to others. I want emotionally close relationships, but I find it difficult to trust others completely or to depend on them. I sometimes worry that I will be hurt if I allow myself to become too close to others. I'm trying to remember the statistic percent of which of the population, how much is anxious and how much is avoidant. I believe avoidants are rising in the 21st century. I want to say each is like 25%, but I thought one of them was higher than the other one, so I might have to look into that. But I do know there tend to be more avoidant attachments in people who get older without getting into a secure relationship or marriage. So if you're like in your late 20s, 30s, 40s, and you're dating, the dating pool is much more likely to have more avoidance in them. So yeah, I love talking about attachment styles. I just find them fascinating. I do personality and MBTI and things like that. I am a psychology major at my school. I plan to get a master's in counseling as well. And I was really excited one day when in one of my psychology classes we did a little thing about attachment styles. It was only for one day, but yeah, I was just really excited getting to see it in the classroom, even though I knew most of the information. I don't think the rest of the class was as excited as I was. They were just yeah, whatever, another class, another day. But yeah, that was a good day for me. And I think attachment styles are important in knowing your own, and also knowing your partners or someone that you might want to get into a relationship with, as well as your friends and your family. I mean, I think it's beneficial to know the attachment style of people you're close to, because it lets you know, how they work and how they deal with their connections with other people. It's basically attachment styles are basically how you connect to others in relationships, platonically or romantically. And I think it's important both when your child or someone's child is an infant and they're building that attachment style, because if you're their caregiver, how you act towards them can determine what kind of attachment style they'll grow up to have. Though traumatic incidents later on in life could cause an insecure attachment to form. And it's also, attachment style is important in later on in life, in adult life, because whatever happened when you were younger may have formed who you are today, and knowing how you connect to other people now as an adult will help you know why you do the things you do in relationships, and even especially in patterns, if you find yourself dating the same type of person, or if you find your friendships and relationship people always have the same problems or end the same way, it's probably related to your attachment style, or that you're attracted to other people with certain attachment styles. And this brings me to talking about the anxious attachment style and the dismissive avoidant attachment style. They tend to be drawn to each other, like I said before, because each feels like they have something familiar in the other person. Anxious people are afraid that other people aren't going to be as emotionally close to them as they want to be, and that they're going to be distant, which the dismissive avoidant ends up being. And the dismissive avoidant is afraid of getting enmeshed with another person, and another person wanting to depend on them or be more emotionally needy than they're willing to give. And that's what the anxious attachment ends up being for the dismissive avoidant. So, I mean, I guess I do say opposites attract, but typically it ends up being sort of like a death spiral for them. They start bringing out all the insecurities in the other person because their attachment style is activated by the stress of the fears that their attachment has, and it keeps getting worse, until the end of the relationship, or they may get married and have problems all during the relationship and never feeling like their needs are getting met because they both have opposite needs. It's not a good thing. I don't know if there can be happy marriages from those types. I think if they grow, it's possible, and with marriage therapy, but that is something to watch out for if you're either an anxious attachment or a dismissive avoidant. Yeah. It is said that the secure attachment is the ideal for all the types. Of course, because, they're the only secure attachment. They're secure in themselves, they're secure in having a relationship with you, and it has also been said that an insecure attachment pairing with a secure attachment can actually soothe the insecurity after a while. It may depend on how severe your attachment is and which attachment. I think it said like the anxious attachment especially benefits from having a secure partner, but I'm sure the avoidants do too. I mean, the secure partner like isn't a perfect person, but it's the kind of attachment that we all strive for. So they do tend to pair off early though, because they're not afraid to get in relationships, and like they tend to not have like a whole ton of drama like the anxious attachment might. So they tend to find someone early on in life and get into a relationship or get married early on. So yeah, I think it's, even though it says that like the majority of the population is one, it's harder to find them as you get older. About whether your attachment style can change, I believe you do have a set attachment style as you grow up. I remember even as a child like having the same like beliefs and thought about myself and struggles like as I do now. Though I think I went through a period where I was a little more anxious, but yeah, I'm still a fearful avoidant attachment. And although you have one overall attachment style, you can have different attachments to different people. It is possible that you may be fearful avoidant towards your partner, but insecure about your parents. Or you could be secure about your friends, but a dismissive avoidant with your partner. And there is a test that I will link that will probably explain more about that. It's a really cool test. It charts you on a graph from the questions you're asked, and it will put you which attachment style you are for different people in your life. Like it goes your mom, your dad. It will ask you to pick a friend for you to think about, and a partner, and it will show you where you are on those. And it also has a general attachment style test that's short, and it will say what your general attachment style is. And if you log on, I think if you give them your email, it's really cool because you can track your attachment style over a period of time. It does more than that. It's like your attachment style, like your well-being in your life at the moment, like maybe even like the big 5 personalities in there somewhere and stuff like that. But I think it reminds you to take it like every 3 months or something like that, or like every so often, and you'll be able to see like how your attachment style is shifting through changes in your life and whether it's changing and how. So yeah, I think that's really cool. I mean, I think I have a sufficient amount of information without researching and practicing what I'm going to say. This was actually one of the subjects I listed if I had to talk about something like as an expert, like with no like prep time. So how did I do? If one of those attachment styles like resonated with you, then I would suggest like Googling it and finding out more information about it, and also like commenting below this video which attachment style you think you are. I'm so sick of this camera, I swear. I ran out of space on it, even though it's like a brand new card. So, can attachment styles change from insecure to secure? I think studies have shown that it's possible, but it's difficult. So in short, I think with a lot of effort, going to therapy, especially cognitive therapy, that can rewire your brain to have more positive thoughts over the negative about yourself and others, and being self-aware of yourself. I think being self-aware is the key to knowing why you do things you do in your attachment style and what you can do to become healthier. So yes, I think it is possible to become a secure, or an earn secure, as I call it. That is actually one of my goals. I hope I'm improving, slowly at least. So yeah, I think it's possible to change your attachment style, but it is difficult and it has a lot of work involved. But yeah, I may make another video on this later, just because I feel like I have so much to say about attachment styles, and I actually had a lot of fun filming this, and I will see you guys later. Bye.